So today we want to talk to you about commercial management and how that actually sits within your business and within the industry as a whole, and more importantly, whether you actually have that covered within your business. So firstly, it's important to understand what it is. What is commercial management? It means different things to different businesses depending on the size, on the projects they get involved in, and what they deliver. Do they deliver a service or do they deliver a project? Because ultimately it differs in terms of what you're actually offering. So commercial management generally is defined as facilitating the delivery of something from start to finish to a profit. So that's what commercial management is. But it's the component parts within that that actually makes it successful or not. So from a construction perspective, it's about understanding from the tender process, so from the very initial stages of receiving your tender, are the commercial risks being picked up within that so it's being priced correctly? So do you know what form of contract, if it's a published form of contract, that is required as part of that tender? Are you pricing the risks? So if you're working within the ground, have you been asked to take on an all-ground risk? And if so, have you priced that within the scheme? So we have this whole tender process, which is important in terms of commercial management, which then it runs through into the award. So we've got this position then whereby you receive the award. Does that actually line up with what you offered? So is it the same contract that you intended? Is it the same terms that you engaged in? Or essentially is now an element of liquidated damages of £25,000 a week for overrun been included that was never talked about initially? So do we need to look at realigning the offering back with the terms that you intended? So we work to look at that and make sure that those two are congruent in what the intentions of the parties certainly were. Whether they still are is questionable. And we bring those in line. And then it's about making sure the terms of the contract in all other facets of the scheme are acceptable. So are you incorporating main contract terms from a contract you've never even seen? So if you are, and that's being imposed on you, do we need to look at striking that out? So it's understanding whether you have those commercial management facilities, options, processes, procedures within your company. And if you have those, it's then taking it through to project delivery stage. So you know your offering, you know what the risks are, you know what contract you're under. So is the ground delivery, the actual men on the ground, are they complying with the requirements of all those things? So are they complying with the method in which you intended that scheme to be delivered? Are they putting in, depending on the form of contract, are they putting in the relevant early warning notices if, say, it's an NEC contract, or compensation events to claim for the additional time and money that applies for that specific contract form? Obviously, it'll differ if it's a JCT, but it's about making sure the congruence runs through the whole of the project life cycle. So really, it's a case of looking at your business in that respect and understanding, have you got commercial management covered? And for elements that you have, you may think, well, okay, the estimating team is very strong, but actually once we receive the contract, we just sign that and we put it in the drawer. So you've got this real strength in the initial stages, but then that falls away when you get to engagement. So then if anything, hopefully it doesn't, but if anything goes wrong within the project, are you actually covered? Your estimating team think you are, but actually because the contract's not been executed properly, you may find your company and your department exposed in that regard. So it's looking at commercial management as a procedure, as a function, and understanding which elements of it your business is strong and which elements of it you could maybe do with just strengthening, tweaking, or making sure that as a overall you have the commercial management element covered. So we hope that's been helpful and given you some areas to think about.